Alright students, today we're going to learn about present perfect tense. But before we start our lessons today, I'd like to tell you about our learning objective. There you are. These are our learning objectives. As you can see on the slide, we have two learning objectives. Number one is students are able to recognize present perfect tense. So at the end of our lessons, you are expected to be able to recognize the present perfect tense. And learning objective number two is students are able to construct or use present perfect tense. Or at the end of our lessons, you are expected to be able to construct or use present perfect tense in sentences. Alright students, let's start our lesson today. Our first discussion will be about the functions of present perfect tense. There are several functions of present perfect tense. Alright, the first function it is to express past event that is still related to the present moment, or the effect of the event is now. For example, I have done my homework, or he has opened the door. These examples or these sentences are still related to the present moment, or the effect of these events can still be felt till today. Now we're gonna talk to the second functions of the present perfect. The second functions of the present perfect is to express past events that started in the past and continue to the present, usually using for and since. Alright, let's take a look at the examples. Examples number one, she lived in the orphanage for 6 years. In this sentence, we can see the use of for in the present perfect tense. And examples 2, my father has worked in the bank since I was born. And this second example also has since. And the third one, or the third example, I have learned English for many years. Okay, we can see the use of for in the sentence. Alright, now we're gonna move on to other function of the present perfect tense. Alright students, now we're going to continue to the third functions of the present perfect tense. The third function is to express a repeated event in the past. Okay, let's take a look at the examples. Examples 1, my sister has seen the movie twice. Okay, we can see the word twice. Once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and so on. Those words express a repeated events in the past. So when we want to talk about a repeated event in the past, we can use present perfect. Okay, let's take a look at the second example. We have visited the restaurant several times. Alright, we can say a few times, several times. And maybe if you have visited the restaurants a lot of times or many times, we can also say that. Alright, let's see the next functions of the present perfect tense. It is to express an event that was completely in the very recent past, usually using just. For example, they have just finished their homework. So the word just indicates that the event is was completely in the very recent time. And the second example is we have just arrived home. Here in the second example, we can also find the word just in the sentence, which indicate that the event just was completely in the very recent time. Alright, now we're going to continue to the last functions of the present perfect tense. It is to express a life experience, usually indicated using ever and never. For example, she has ever visited Bali. So the word ever indicates that the person has done that events or that actions in the past. And let's take a look at the second example. Have you ever eaten sushi? Alright. The person tries to find out the life experience of someone else, whether or not she or he has ever eaten sushi. Alright. Now, the third example. We have never seen a kangaroo. That's also expressing a life experience. Now we're gonna look at the function, not the function, I mean the text, the structures of the sentence or of the present perfect. Alright students, now we're going to talk about the structures of the present perfect tense. The first structures of the present perfect tense is the affirmative structures. Usually, the affirmative form or the affirmative structures is started with the subject and then followed with have or has. We use have for plural subject and we use has for singular subjects. And then after have and has or has, it is followed by past participle. And the negative forms of the present perfect tense is started with the subject in the beginning of the sentence and then followed by have or has and not, and then the last one is followed by past participle. And then in the interrogative sentence, have and has is in the first or in the beginning, is usually in the beginning of the sentence and then followed by subject, and the last one is followed by past participle. Alright, let me tell you something. Have not has the shorter form. It is haven't. So haven't is the shorter forms of have not. So you can say have not or haven't. Both are correct. And has not, the shorter forms of has not is has not, hasn't. So you can use either has not or hasn't. Alright, now let's take a look at the examples. The positive forms, the examples of the positive forms here is I have visited the orphanage 5 times so far. So in this example, we can find the use of have after the subject I and then followed with the past participle or visited in the sentence. And the negative forms, she hasn't had a chance to talk to our teacher. Here in this sentence, we can find the subject as she, the subject is she, and followed with hasn't or has not, and then the past participles of the sentence is had. Alright, now let's take a look at the interrogative form. have you called him twice? So have or has, in the sentences, have is put or place in the beginning of the sentence and then followed with subject, which is you here in this sentence, and then followed with the past participle, called. Alright, have you called him twice? Alright, and now we're gonna move on to the nominal sentence, or the sentence that use to be or helping verbs as the main verbs. Nominal sentences in present perfect use been in the sentences. Alright, let's take a look at the examples. The positive forms: she has been an orphan for 8 years. Here in this example, been is placed after has, so it becomes she has been an orphan for 8 years. Alright, now let's take a look at the negative form. We have not been to cinema for 2 years. Here in the negative forms of the sentence, been is used after not, so it becomes we have not been we have not been to cinema for 2 years. The last is the interrogative form. The example is, have you been busy this month? So been here is placed after the subject. Have is placed in the beginning of the sentence. Have you been busy this month? Alright, students, this is finally the end of our lessons. Thank you so much for paying attention. And if you have any question about our lesson today, you can leave your questions in the comment section below. See you in the next lessons. Bye.